Hi guys, welcome back to Uncle Todd's Garage. As you can see, we've got the RZR back here today, and I'm sure you've seen from the description of the video what we're doing. The steering rack is super sloppy, ball joints are super loose, and I've got the parts here and we'll go to unboxing those right now. Alright guys, let's see what's in here anyway. Alright, these are the ball joints. The Kryptonite, what do they call these? Oh, it's just a Kryptonite razor pack. Oh, look at that. That's a sweet. That's freaking sweet. I don't need those. Alright, so what makes these different, guys, is I'm not sure if they press in too, but you get them in there and see they're threaded. So when you thread it, tighten it down, it pinches into the control arm too. So I'm not sure if this is just like a slip fit or a press fit, but put that in there and then crank that down. And of course, I'll clean it and I'll Loctite it just to make sure. So these are Kryptonite. So we'll get those put in here in just a little bit. Grease there, don't forget that. All right, we'll skip the drama this time. So here is the steering. Holy crap, look at that sticker back. Woo! Oh boy. Yes. Okay, so instead of a regular ball and joint on the end, they're a spherical bearing. Hind joint people. Look at the size of that Judy. We'll compare that to the old one when we take it out. It has these, this will go down in the taper where the tie rod would normally go in. You tighten that up like you do the tie rod, and these spherical bearings go here. In bit of an upgrade, I suppose. So it comes with all new tie rods. Assuming that the inners are already attached to the steering rack. There we go. Alright. So there is your Super ATV Rack Boss. Now they have a Rack Boss 2.0 as well, but it's like $200 more. This was pricey enough. There's zip ties on those, huh? That is nice. That is nice. Okay, so it looks like the inner part is right hand threaded and the outer part is going to be left hand threads. But we'll talk about more of that later. So, all right. So there is the Kryptonite ball joints that we're putting in, all four, and the Super ATV Rack Boss. Let's get to work. there it is. We got it all laid out. I was just kidding about the instructions. Of course, I'm going to need those because I'm an idiot sometimes. Rack, tie rods, end joints, all the hardware we need. The ball joints, grease zerts. I'm going to get it jacked up and we'll get started. I don't know if you guys can see that movement down there. Here, maybe from over here. There you go. I can see it there. Right there. You can definitely hear it too. That's what these RZR racks do. But for our almost 5,000 miles, right there, 4698 on the stock one. That's not that bad, I guess. All right, guys, just a little update. I had to take the winch and the winch mount out to get room. So see, those are see those bolts there? There's 5 bolts. That's what holds the rack in. And my winch and winch mount were sitting right in that same area. So that's what I've been fiddling with. Just a little update. Gonna get back to it. Okay, we about got our legs now. Okay, now I'll get the new Super ATV Rack Boss assembled up with the tie rods, and we'll take a look and do a comparison on them. Okay, here we go, guys. We're just gonna take a look at these two next to each other. First, let's look at the bodies here. This definitely is much beefier. The shaft here is bigger. This boot's bigger, which means the inner tie rod or the shaft itself must be beefier. Even the brackets, look at how much heavier that bracket is compared to that one. And then just the size of the tie rods themselves. And then look at those joints compared. I mean, look at that. If the stock one lasted 5,000, I would have hoped to think that this might last another 5,000, and I probably won't have it that long. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the measurement from the old one, from tie rod to yeah, look how bad that is. From tie rod to tie rod, and transfer it over to this new one before I put it in. So the new steering rack, as you've seen before, is bigger, stronger, I'm assuming. I was able to get the stock rack out of there just fine, but the directions, I went and actually read some of them, and they want you to unbolt the front differential, slide it up, which involves taking out an axle and taking apart a ball joint and all that stuff. So it doesn't matter. I got to do the ball joints anyway. So that's what we're doing now. Let's get to it. Okay, one more thing. I can hear some of you guys out there telling me put jack stands under this thing. Well, this is actually a motorcycle jack, and it has built-in stops right here. So look, all the pressure's off the cylinder. That's where you let it off there. All the pressure's off the cylinder. It's sitting on those stops. So it's not going anywhere. But problem is now, right where I got my blocks there, here, is where some of the differential bolts are. So now I'll get out the jack stands, jack it up, let it on the jack stands so I can get under there to get to the bolts. Here we go. Okay, so here's the deal. I just pulled the diff out too. I had one axle out already. I have to have that side apart to do the ball joints anyway. So I went ahead and took that side apart. Pulled the knuckle, spindle, axle, hub. And the reason I chose just to go ahead and pull the differential out, because you had to loosen it and move it. Well, look at that garbage in there. I'd have never been able to clean it out and get that bolted in correctly with all that mud and dirt and stuff in there. Definitely nasty. So now I can go ahead and clean that all up before I put it back together. And so the rack should slide right in now. So I was gonna stick you guys right down here so you can have a gander. Well, I don't know how much of that you guys could see, but I got the rack all in. I gotta clean that junk out of there, get the differential stuff put back together, and then I think I'm done tonight. Then I can just do the ball joints tomorrow. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that cleaned up. Well, there's a differential. It's cleanish. It doesn't have to be spick and span. So I'm gonna throw that in now. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna call it there for tonight. I got the differential back in, steering rack's in, drive shaft's hooked back up, steering shaft is hooked back up. I'm just gonna get cleaned up and get back at it in the morning. Good morning and welcome to day 2. So what we did yesterday, we got all tore down, got the new rack put in it, got the hubs and everything off. Now it is time to do the ball joints. I've had the ball joints in the freezer since last night. That helps them shrink down a little bit, helps them install a little better. So I'm gonna get to tearing this thing down and I'll probably do one side at a time instead of tearing it all apart at once. Here we go. All right, so I just cut this boot off because I want to look in. Nasty. There you go. Now I can see how bad that is. This is the driver's side lower. I think this was probably the worst one. Joke. Okay. I don't know. Did you see these bushings that came out? Awful. Probably need replaced. But I'm just gonna go ahead and clean on them with some brushes like so. And same in here. That's too big. You know, I could have just slapped it back together all nasty and dirty, but man, it just feels right. Probably made more clearance, I suppose. I'm gonna finish cleaning this stuff up and then we'll grease them and put it back in. Okay, all cleaned up. Time to get them greased. I like to use anti-seize. You can use white grease, you can use all-purpose grease, use whatever you want, but as long as you grease it up. And I have my O-rings. I think we gotta take this apart again. Let's say if I scoop a control arm or something, and an A-arm, I gotta replace them, and I would get a new bushing set, because these O-rings are pretty tough. It's probably why it looks so nasty in there, because it let moisture get in there. Because these go in here with the O-ring, and that's supposed to seal out any water and stuff from getting in. So we're gonna put these back all cleaned up, put them back together. We're gonna use the anti-seize on there, and then we're gonna throw it back on the machine and move on to the next one. You don't gotta go overboard on the anti-seize. Looks like I am though. The other thing is these do have a right way and wrong way. See the taper on it there? The taper goes in. Or maybe it goes, wait, no, the taper goes out. My bad. Okay. With any luck, these stay in. I just put that one in backwards. With any luck, these stay in place while we take it over to the machine. Feels pretty good. Now this is red Loctite, which means if I ever have to take this apart, which sounds like everybody's telling me I'm going to be doing this real soon because Kryptonite ball joints are junk. But with the red Loctite, you'll have to heat it up to take it apart. see it? Do you see it? Tell me if you see it. Tell me if you see me doing it earlier. Put that freaking ball joint in upside down. Dang it. Knew I was gonna do that. Gosh darn it. All right guys, I'm not gonna make you watch me do that again. I'm gonna turn the camera off and we'll come back to where we left off. Okay, so I got that ball joint put back in the right way, got everything put back together, axle, shaft, steering. This is how the new steering setup looks. With the... I'm listening. Excuse me, Siri. I'm working. Cancel. I don't understand. Cancel. Siri, I am working. Cancel. I would search the web for it. Cancel. Cancel. Okay. Before we were rudely interrupted, you can see the new tie rod end and how the spherical rod end hooks up to the tie rod. Everything's done. I got these new pop riveted back in. I just had to drill them out to a little bit bigger size to fit this rivets I had. I had to take the lower control arm bolts back out because I had the washer on the wrong side. So that's all set up and this side's done. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. You guys don't need to participate in that. All right guys, so a couple more hours have passed and I have got the steering rack is all done. Tie rods are on. I still got a little center steering to do, I think. It's pretty close. I gotta wait till I get the tires on before you can really measure that. I still gotta put the winch back in. Big gaping hole there. But that's pretty much the only thing that's left. Just put the winch in and put the front bumper and stuff back together, get the center steering done. And she'll be done. So we'll give you another update here in just a little bit. I got to admit, this thing is kicking my butt today. But we got the winch back in. It sounds like an easy task, but it's not. The bolts are all in weird places and it's just a pain in the butt. So all I got left to do is throw the front end back together. So I'm gonna put it on time lapse and we'll get this thing wrapped up. I still gotta grease the ball joints and I'll have to do the toe in once we get it on the ground. Okay, so when I just got in it to move it, now the check engine light's on. Well, I guess I'll go into the diagnosis thing and see what's going on. So to check the codes, you just push this until it comes up right there to that one where it says check engine. And you hold it, and it shows you your code. There's one code. No, there's only one code. 520-230. The 520-230, I just looked that up. That is the EPS. I don't know, I think that, but you see the codes are gone. I think that the wire harness for the front differential. I know it said EPS, but that one went away. It just said the other code was for open circuit for front differential. So I went and I unplugged the connector and plugged it back in, and now it's fine. So everything seems to be pretty good. Can't wait to drive it. I did not grease the ball joints. I gotta have, went ahead and forgot. I gotta have the tires off to do those brake pads. Those will be in a couple days. So I'll just grease the ball joints in. But anyway, she's all done. For now, I can't drive it right now, but now that it's on the ground, the towing actually looks pretty good. That right might be out just a hair. All right, so there you go, guys. Super ATV Rack Boss, not 2.0, that's just a regular Rack Boss. And Rhino brand super clamp or something like that, ball joints. I forget what they call them. Really, the winch made the job way harder. It took, I probably got an extra 3 hours just messing with the winch. So it's actually not that bad of a job. Just make sure you put the ball joints in the right way. I pressed it out and back in, it was just fine. So remember, guys, if you're gonna be good at breaking stuff, you better be good at fixing stuff.